All right, everybody. Welcome to Creating Smart Salons, Spas, and Stylists, SMART, for service, marketing, attitude, retail, and team. And this has been an interesting series. We're in our 7.0 series, which means we've been doing this for about 4 years and have had incredible heroes and icons and legends in the industry and amazing owners and trainers and coaches, and we've hit them all. And our guest today is John Palmieri, a friend of mine who is here in Georgia now living. And John runs 6 salons, which is Salon 124, correct?
Yep, correct.
As well as Kuhn Academy Cosmetology School.
Mm-hmm.
And so John, he's here in Georgia. So now we have a whole new kind of focus conversation now that we're there was pre-corona piece that used to be the PC. Now we got in the midst of corona, and Georgia opened on Friday the 24th, where salons were allowed to open, so a week ago Friday. Mm-hmm. And John, you opened all 6 on that day?
Correct, we did.
Awesome. So before we dive in deep into what's what about the schools and what's going on, give them a little bit more, if you would, about your background and how you came to be the man that you are.
Well, thanks. I've been a salon owner for 25 years. I owned a salon in Worcester, Massachusetts, which is where I'm from. Excuse me. I haven't used my voice too much yet, so I got to lubricate it. So again, I'm from Worcester, Massachusetts. I owned a salon there for 25 years. I also worked for a consulting company during that time. And while I was working for that consulting company, I met the woman who was to be my wife. Mm-hmm. And she was one of the students in the program. Next thing you know, I got a girlfriend in Georgia. Next thing you know, I got a wife in Georgia. Next thing you know, I sold everything.
Same person, correct?
Same person, yeah. It was the same person. So I sold everything and moved to Georgia, which is where I'm at now. And now I'm the director of business and leadership development for the Salon 124 group. We have 6 salons, 2 different models. We have our mid-tier pricing. Those are our Genesis branded salons. And then we have our higher tiered pricing salons. Those are our Salon 124s. And then we also have a cosmetology school, Kuhn Academy by 124.
So the middle salons are called Genesis?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Genesis meaning the beginning, right?
Correct.
So, traditionally what will happen is you'll graduate from the school. If you work for our company, you'll go to a Genesis salon to start, build your clientele, build your skill set, and then someday you'll progress into our 124 locations.
That's funny. A guy that used to work for me or with me at my dad's salon growing up, years later, he left and opened his own and then opened another one. And by then my dad was retiring, selling, and he sold the building and whatnot. Yep. And I went and worked at his salon called Genesis.
Oh, great. Yeah. So now we have 3 Genesis salons and 3 124 salons.
Okay. Awesome. So you guys opened. What was that like in leading up to that and the preparation and the thought? Because a lot of these people have not opened. So I don't think anybody's opened yet on the screen, but they're in prep mode and definitely getting their ears and minds full of all kinds of content. Which is everybody who hasn't opened giving them information, but here you are, right. The horse's mouth and the facts, so we'd love to hear some.
Well, for us, while the salons were closed for a month, we closed somewhere like the 3rd week of March, I forget the exact date. We were closed for 4 weeks straight. And in that time span, while the salons were closed and our stylists didn't have to come to work, the leadership team did. Most of us worked remotely. I tended to come into the office because I could be the only one here, but we spent 4 weeks preparing for our opening date. Now, we didn't know when the opening date was going to be, but we prepared, actually probably 2 weeks before we even closed, we started preparing for the thought that, a shutdown might happen. To tell you the truth, I was one of those people that didn't think we would actually close, but we did. And there were cooler heads in the room that said, you know what, this is a possibility, we need to prepare for it. So Tammy Cuthbert, who's our director of operations, did a magnificent job of just making sure that, we had everything that we needed. And, so we make sure that, and the screen here.
You broke up a little bit. What happened?
Yeah. I'm going to detach my computer from the screen here
Oh, okay.
because I want to show you the supplies that we got.
Yes.
So, talk about preparing, right? So
Wow.
I don't know how many boxes those are, but those are all gloves,
Gloves.
all right? And then if we walk around, if you need alcohol, barbicide,
Wow. So
toilet
that's where
paper.
that's why we can't get any. You got all the shit.
Yeah, you need some. What do you need? I got it.
I need hand sanitizer.
Yep, we got it.
I'm talking to you.
But the point is that Tammy really did a great job of making sure that we had everything that we were going to need to be open. And what we have here is a 3-month supply.
And that, just so we all know, you're not hoarding. That's for 6 locations
That's for 6 locations. Yeah.
and the school.
And the school.
Yeah. Now it looks like you might be a little light.
Exactly. So there's enough there for 3 months. And what happens is we're constantly keeping a 3-month supply because we're never quite sure if we're going to get, we don't know what's going to happen next. Let's be honest. So there's a 3-month supply of
Sasha, he's in Georgia. He's here with me. He's here with me in Georgia. So they've been open for 1 week now. Yep. Sorry, John. Go ahead, buddy.
So all that stuff's been sitting there for a month.
Wow.
We prepared a month ago to make sure we had enough supplies to carry us through a 3-month window. We didn't know we were going to open when we did. In fact, we were kind of surprised that the governor had given us an open date.
Yeah.
But the point was we were ready. We had the supply. That's the supply end. Of course, we also had built all our protocols and all our trainings for our managers.
So just so everybody knows, did you send the email last night or this morning? I didn't even see it.
Yes, I did. I sent it last night.
So
but I also got him here to share with you if you'd like.
Okay, so John's going to be pulling up some documents and his protocols. He's also emailed them to me. I'm going to post them in the Smart group under files later on. Mm-hmm. And when I load up the recording as well, I'll get all that up there. So you'll be able to download these docs and do with them what supports you. Thank you, John.
You're welcome, sir. Then once we got our supplies set up, we were doing remote training with our managers. So using Zoom like we're doing here, we'd have the 6 managers on the phone. We review protocol with them so they knew what it looked like ahead of time. We had our managers, they had computers at home because we, if there's ever a snow day or anything like that, we had protocol for what that looks like. So
that happens all the time here in Georgia.
That happens all the time in Georgia. The one time a year that we have enough snow, which is like this much.
Correct.
That people can't drive.
Look at Melissa's like, come on, y'all.
Yeah, Melissa, I'm the same way. I'm like, I'm in the car and Brian will call me and say, you're not coming to work, are you? I was like, of course I am.
Shit, you're from Massachusetts, dude. If it's not 2 feet, I can come.
And if there's 2 feet, I'll just drive a little slower. But anyways, we already had protocols for when that rare occurrence had calling up clients, which is what they did. They spent probably 2-3 weeks calling up all the clients from the past that got missed and all the ones moving forward to get them set up.
So how do you want to do this? You want to start going through your protocols? I mean, I got 9 million questions. I'm sure everybody else does too.
Yeah. So I'll start pulling up a couple of things. So, there's a bunch of different pieces to this, and I won't put them in any particular order, but I'll go through the pieces. So one of the things that we do is we have our client sign a waiver. So this is what it looks like. And again, this will be on the website. Oscar will have a copy of it and just ask him for it. But this is a copy of our waiver that every client must sign before they come in. And basically, it keeps.
Are you hitting share screen yet?
I thought I did, but let me try again.
I don't have it. It's not up.
Okay, let's try it. How about now?
There we go. It's coming. There it is.
So, this is a waiver that we have each and every client sign when they come in. And it protects the salon should, God forbid, anybody contacts coronavirus, that they can't hold the salon liable for that. We have every client sign it. If you notice over here on the right-hand side, there's a little bit of white space. The reason is that little bit of white space is when a client comes to the door, we also have infrared thermometers, ones that don't require touch.
Yeah.
And then we write the temperature down here.
And
now, I'm sorry?
And the date, like?
Yeah, date's right here.
Okay.
And
Oh,
then
that's
we also put it in the computer when they come in so that they don't have to fill one out every time. So once they filled it out once, we put it underneath their notes, a pop-up note as we call it. So when there's a second or third appointment, it pops up, hey, this person's already filled out a waiver, they're good.
But you still take their temperature, like if they
We
came back
still
from.
take their temperature. Everything else is the same.
Okay.
So
And
we
this
take their
covers you
temperature.
as one document throughout the time period that we're in.
Yep. Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. There is no end date on this, and so it covers us for in perpetuity.
So Michelle's asking, I would like to do this,
Yep.
but she's asking, does anyone know if this goes against HIPAA laws?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't know enough about HIPAA to, comment on that. All I know is, we do keep these in a file, in a folder, locked away. So what happens is the managers collect them in a folder by day, and I take them to the central office at the end of the week, and they go to a central repository file cabinet. I'm going to guess that they're not a HIPAA violation, and the reason I say that is because there's no medical. I mean, if the only thing on here is the temperature that they were when they came in the door, I don't know that necessitates a HIPAA violation. I could be wrong.
And in our new norm, I mean, if they're going to go to a restaurant, if they're going anywhere these days, it's going to become, they're getting used to that. And if
Right.
somebody's offended by that, they get to choose where they do business as well, is if we're not breaking the law.
Yep.
I haven't heard anything from anybody.
Well, just for anecdotal storytelling, in the week and a half that we've been open, we've probably done this hundreds of times, meaning at least 300-400 guests have come in so far. I've only had 2 people complain, 2. And I handled both those complaints. So.
And they complained on what level, if I may ask?
They didn't want to fill out the paperwork. They thought it was a little intrusive,
And did they after all, or?
I'm sorry?
And did they after all, or did they not do business?
They did not. They chose not to. And,
Yeah.
I get that. Again, though, I want to make this clear. Out of 300 to 400 guests,
Correct.
2 people said no.
Correct. At Van, and so my team here all knows Van also.
Yeah.
And Van, I guess, in their time, as of I think Sunday night of Saturday night, I think,
Yeah.
they had 2 people that had temperatures they turned away.
Yeah.
And 1 person didn't want to sign the doc they turned away.
Yeah.
And I think 2 employees, because they're taking every employee also
Sure.
before they enter every day.
Yep.
I think 2 of their employees were just slightly over what their base was, and they sent them home as well.
We do the same thing. All employees are scanned when they come in the door to make sure that their temperature is, I believe that the CDC sent it at 100.4 degrees.
Correct.
But the State Board of Georgia has mandated it's 99.
Correct.
And 99 is what we use. So.
Roger that.
Yeah.
There was a couple questions in the chat. Sasha said, did he send these out beforehand or
Nope.
once they arrived to the salon? My lawyer said we technically cannot take their temperature unless the government mandates it.
I can't answer that question in regards to whether or not the government mandates it. It is part of our protocol. We do require people get the temperature taken. Obviously, they don't have to come in if they don't want to. And again, when I say 2 people out of approximately 350, 400, that's it.
Yeah.
Now there have been 4 people whose temperature was too high, and those 4 people we did, not allow them to have a service, but we also gave them a $20 gift card to take home because we realized the inconvenience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sweet. That's very, because I mean, they're already going home with their tail on their legs and probably now maybe even frightened.
Right, and the other thing is it's hot in Georgia right now, right?
Yeah.
It's in the upper 80s already. And so if you're waiting outside, we found out it's pretty easy for your temperature to spike over 99 just standing out in the sun.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll have people move under the awning, under the shade. And when I say 30 to 60 seconds later, we retake their temperature and they're always, it's down again. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, awesome.
Continue. So that's our waiver. Every client signs one, no ifs, ands, or buts. If you don't want to sign a waiver, that's okay, but you can't come in the salon. Let's show you what else we have. These are our reopening guidelines, and these are what we gave our managers. Things like please stay home if you've been ill. all employees must have their temperatures taken. Now, at the time, it was 100.4
Yeah.
because that's what we got from the CDC. This document has now been updated to 99 degrees.
Per Georgia State Board.
Or Georgia State Board.
Roger
Uh,
that.
all guests must have a face mask. All
Yes.
stations are 4 to 5 feet apart at each of our locations. So what we've done is we've changed our scheduling so that every other chair is open. So if they're 4 to 5 feet apart now you're 8 to 10 feet apart.
So chair 1, chair 2, chair 3, on day 1, chair 1 and 3 are working.
Yep.
On day 2, chair 2 and 4 are working?
No, it's always 1 and 3. 2 is always empty.
Oh, so your team's rotating on 1 and 3
Yep.
on odd or even day kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you have like an A team and a B team, so to speak?
Well, we did a couple of different things. First of all, not all of our team came back all at once,
Okay.
right? I would say half of our stylists came back. Half wanted to wait another week, so we allowed that to happen. And we've got a small minority, I'd say out of 200, employees, we have, I think, 12 who aren't back yet as of this week, the last I counted. This is probably our busier week. And what we asked is we just asked our staff to change their schedule a little bit. If they're a mom and they're usually working 9 to 4, would they consider working 9 to 2 so somebody could work 2 to 8? If you were, we had a lot of staff that work 30 hours a week. So could you work 3 10-hour days so that somebody else could have the other 3 10-hour days? And that was really left up to the managers to talk to each one of their stylists at each location and kind of work that out and come up to an agreement that made them work. That made it work for them. We didn't make anybody work. If you wanted to come back, you could come back. If you wanted to wait a little bit, you can wait a little bit. No judgment, no nothing. Everybody, feels differently about this, and we wanted to accommodate as many stylists as we could. And for those that want to be out till June 1st, fine, be out till June 1st. We did not mandate that anybody had to come back at any particular time. It's totally up to the stylist.
So then the people staying until June 1st are collecting unemployment up and through?
It depends. So, when we opened, all our employees were furloughed under the unemployment laws of Georgia.
Correct.
When we reopened, we ended that furlough. And there are a couple of options. One is if you continue to stay out, you could reapply yourself for unemployment through the state of Georgia.
But you guys cut it off by saying we're open again.
We did, but we did a lot of other things. For instance, Brian extended, the owner of our company, Brian Perdue, he actually gave everybody 75% of their pay if they wanted to be out another week. So he paid for that.
Gotcha.
So the furlough may have ended Friday, but you could still take off till the next Friday and Brian would pay you. That gave you time to reapply for unemployment insurance if that's what you wanted. Also, the Federal Medical Leave Act has caveats for people who lost childcare, their kids are out of school, or they themselves had COVID-19. You get support under the Family Federal Medical Leave Act to support you during that time as well. So there's lots of options.
Okay, John, we have a question from Tracy. Tracy, can you unmute, honey? Well, I'm gonna let you talk since you talked so much yesterday in our party.
Hey, Tracy.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Oh shoot. Sorry, I was late to the class.
No problem.
Hey, oh no, where'd you go?
Oh, I'm right here. Yeah.
Okay. I'm outside, so it's so are your employees still able to, now I know it's Georgia and Virginia are probably different, but are they still able to collect part-time unemployment?
After the furlough, when the furlough ended, right, and we went back to work, if they want to reapply to the state of Georgia for unemployment insurance, they can do that.
Even though because they're working, but they're not back full-time.
Oh, you're asking if they can do it because they're full-time, and the answer is
they can't exceed like $300 in income, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that, but I know this because maybe this will help answer your question. What we did is we took their average pay for 2019, and
right.
let's say it was $2,000 a week. And because of this current situation, let's say your current paycheck is now $1,500 a week, we make up the difference. as a
Yeah, I was
company.
just wondering because after the initial 8 weeks is over,
Mhm.
you know, like my friends in the corporate world, they're getting laid off like halftime,
Sure.
and so they're able to apply for half like part-time unemployment.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering
We
in
haven't
our
had to
industry.
have, yeah, we haven't had staff that have had to do that because we're making up the difference between what they would have made and what they are making. Now, 8 weeks from now, ask me again, you know,
8 minutes from now.
8 weeks from now.
Another thing, Tracy, I think I heard on one of the interviews about a week ago, there's like a threshold on what you can make in income
Right,
and collect unemployment, but as soon as you exceed that, you can't qualify for unemployment anymore.
right.
So corporate people that are halftime, I'm thinking they've exceeded even at halftime income, they're probably exceeding the number.
Right.
But we'll come back to that later. Go
Yep.
ahead, John. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. So let's see what other documents I can show you. So again, clients would come in, so here's how the protocol works. You come to the salon, right? There are signs out front of our building, and those signs let you know that you have to wait a few minutes. And can you see that? Does that come
No,
up? All right, let me pull it up for you.
we're not in share screen yet.
I will do it.
Nope.
It's coming.
Oh,
There you go. All right, so we have these, we have these signs posted on a pole out front of the front door, and the sign says, wait, text your name to this telephone number. We're using Textel. It's a texting service that connects to our desktops in the salon, and the stylist, you know, now knows that their client's here waiting for them out in the parking lot. And what happens next is when that stylist is ready for them, the front desk will text that client, hey, Oscar, you know, John's ready to see you. Come on up to the front door. Oscar comes to the front door. At that point, we take your temperature. We have you sign the waiver. There is a bottle of hand sanitizer. So you hand sanitize. The stylist hand sanitize. You have a mask at that point. If you don't have a mask, we'll give you one. That's what happens next.
So
Yes, go ahead.
the app is Textel. Is that what you called it?
Yep.
TEXTEL?
Yes, TEXTEL.
And then you said this message goes directly to the stylist, not the front desk?
No, it goes to the front desk. I apologize.
Okay.
So there's 2 or 3 computer monitors, depending on the location. There's 2 or 3 people working the front desk, and it shows up right on the computer monitor that Oscar's here. We then inform the stylist, hey, John, Oscar's here. Are you ready? John says, yeah, come on in. And then the stylist makes their way to the front door. The stylist has the client fill out the waiver. The stylist takes the client's temperature. The stylist writes down the temperature of that guest on there. The stylist brings that clipboard to the front desk. They sanitize the pen. They sanitize the thermometer. And they take their client out back.
Out back? What do you mean?
To the back, to the stations.
Oh.
They go back. They go back for meetings.
You've been voted off the island. We're taking you out back.
John, why are you guys having the stylist do all that?
We had the stylist do it because they had a greater comfort, to be honest, with the guests. You know, if I have a relationship with Oscar as their stylist, they seem to take it much easier from me. Hey, Oscar, pal, buddy, you know, we got to do this, you know. Also, you know, the front desk, that put them at a position where they were doing that for every single solitary person. And that was a little much, to be honest.
From the fear factor standpoint?
A little bit of both, you know, one from a fear factor, 2 because we didn't have as many support staff. The interesting thing is of all the groups of employees that we had, our support staff were the least likely to return. Most, not all, but a good portion of our support staff, meaning our front desk and our assistants, are either high school seniors or in college, right? And their parents,
Correct.
rightly so, were looking out for the health and safety of their children. And so for us as a company, I'd say half of our support staff was not able to come back to work.
Wow.
And so both not to overwhelm them schedule-wise, and 2, not to overwhelm them fear-wise, and also because we knew that the customer was more likely to take these new protocols from their stylist. we decided to go down that avenue. And the stylists were good with it.
Are the stylists wearing gloves?
Stylists are wearing gloves.
Okay, so when they come up and touch that thermometer, everybody I'm hearing from is trying to minimize touch points to the maximum.
Yep.
The less touch points we can create for multiple people, let's say for, everybody's kind of feeling.
Yeah,
So,
there's a box of gloves right there at the counter. So you put the gloves on, you grab the thermometer, you grab a pen and clipboard with the waiver, you go outside. And all of this is done outside, not inside.
but the clipboards are living inside and then you just hand them to them outside the door?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
This is good stuff. You guys getting the little minutia details here. Thank you, John. Continue, sir.
So
And
next,
keep the questions coming, you guys.
we have these signs. So when you come up front, you see the small sign. It says wait. It has the cell phone number on there, so you can text us. While you're waiting outside, there are these, what we call teepee signs. They're about 4 feet tall, so they're pretty tall. And they're double-sided, just like you'd see at any restaurant would have outside listing their specials.
Sandwich boards.
Exactly, a sandwich board. And a sandwich board has all the protocols listed on it. So while you're out there waiting for your stylist to come up and take your temperature, you get to read the board.
You know what's coming.
All guests will have temperature measured prior to getting any services. All employees' temperatures are measured daily. Employees wear masks and follow hand washing protocols set up by the CDC. All guests must have a mask facial covering upon entering the salon. We disinfect stations and tools between every guest. Every guest is given a fresh cape or smock. We removed all non-essential items such as drinks, magazines, coffee machines, all that's taken out. We have discontinued all non-essential contact. What that means is the stylist cannot double book. What that means is the stylists do not have assistants doing their shampoo for them. What that means is the MasterCard and Visa machines have been turned to face the client so the client can put their card in. We've altered them so that they no longer require a signature. So just the fact you put the card in and took it out is enough. We trained all our teams on essential.
Can I pause you there for a second? So when you switched your card to be just insert only, did that change your fees at all? Your percentage? Okay.
It did not. All our teams have been retrained on essential infection control. We did that through Zoom. Every other station is closed to practice social distancing. No one other than the client receiving services is allowed in the salon. Parents are not permitted at stations with minors. I'll touch base on that briefly, and we look forward to serving you safely. That's outside the building.
And now, this is their first exposure to this. There was no email that went out to the masses.
They got an email that went out to the masses. If you go to our website.
Oh, it did go out to the masses. Yep. Okay, thank you.
So when you when we call to confirm an appointment, this is sent out to you via email. We also direct people to our website. It's on our website, so you can read about it ahead of time on our website. You got an email. It's in our social media, Facebook and Instagram.
What can I do?
Yeah, I mean, if we could hire a plane and fly one of those banners across the sky, we would do that too.
Gotcha.
But there's no reason for you not to know about this information because, again, we post it everywhere. We email it to you. It's on our Facebook page. It's outside the building. It's everywhere. We when we use Textel to confirm your appointments, we send you a link to the website with all the information about what you can expect. It's everywhere.
Beautiful.
As for this one about no other client receiving services allowed inside, parents are not permitted at stations with minors. That's happened less than 5 times where we've had customers say, hey, can I come in and bring my child? And, we have to tell them no. We had, of those 5, we had 2 people that kind of pushed back a little bit. And their refrain was, well, I'm not going to leave my 4-year-old inside the salon by themselves. And the answer is, you're right, and I wouldn't want you to. We turn the subject matter to what it really is about, which is this isn't about leaving your 4-year-old in the salon. This is about maybe this isn't the right time.
Yeah, what are you bringing your 4-year-old to the salon for at this point?
Let's wait a couple of weeks when it is okay for you to bring your child in. I think a lot of times we lose patience because this is so overwhelming.
Yeah.
If you're a little bit patient, a little bit kind, take your time with guests. They really understand. They really do.
I hear you. Susan asked a question.
Yeah.
No more cash? Question mark tips? Question mark. What's happening with high cash business?
Yeah, we tell them no cash.
High cash salon business in years, man.
Yep.
I remember when I used to have $100 bills rolling out my pocket.
Yeah. There is no cash. Now that doesn't mean that some people don't like to leave a cash tip, because they do. In those search situations, because our front desk is wearing gloves, they will give a client a tip envelope that they can fill themselves, that they will seal. We tell them not to lick it, just fold the tab in, right? Give it back to the receptionist, and they put it in a drawer where we keep, those envelopes for cash tips. But for paying for services, we don't take cash.
Have you considered like Tipsy that goes direct tip to the staff? Something like
we haven't yet. I mean, we've been playing around with it before the shutdown, but at this point, there's so many other things going on right now.
Yeah.
Adding another protocol wasn't something we wanted to do.
Correct, especially an app that they have to download.
Right. But what we did do is we enabled Google Pay, we enabled Apple Pay. So if people want to waive their phones, that will take their money. If they want to stick a credit card or debit card in the machine, they can do that. They don't have to sign it.
So Susan's also asking, have you told clients no tipping on cards?
We have not told them that, no.
So they still can tip on card?
Yes.
Then that's processed, et cetera, and comes in the check?
Yes, sir.
Roger that. Okay.
I forgot to add another piece. When a client comes up front and they sign the waiver, right, and we take their temperature and we write their temperature down on the waiver, we also ask them 4 questions. And these are the 4 questions.
Yeah.
Have you had a cough? Have you had a fever? Have you been exposed to anyone with these symptoms in the last 14 days? Are you living with anyone experiencing these symptoms, or are self-quarantined to these symptoms? If they answer yes to any 4 of these questions, we deny them service. We also give them a $20 gift card. Anybody we turn away at any time, we give them a $20 gift card. We just want as many people to feel good about this process as possible.
So we know somebody that's desperate is going to fudge and say, yeah, I don't have a cough and go and get in there. Let's say somebody does say yes to this,
Yep.
and they call a couple days later because the cough's gone, I guess.
Yep.
It seems it's such a...
We tell them that they have to wait 14 days.
Oh, even with any kind of sign then?
Yeah, any kind of sign. We say you got to wait 14 days to come back. And again, we go through the same process. You're going to take your temperature. We're going to ask you the same 4 questions. We're going to have you sign a waiver if you haven't signed it yet. But we're going to go through the same exact process, and we do make them wait 2 weeks.
Roger that. Perfect.
So we have these 4 questions, by the way, are on a laminated piece of paper, so it can be cleaned, right, in between each guest. The stylist obviously has gloves on, and we ask them each of those questions.
So now Susan has another question.
Yes, please.
I have an employee who was always sick. How can I address her returning without being sued?
The short answer is, if they're always sick, the thing is, if they have a temperature over 100.4 degrees, you don't really have an option, right? The CDC has mandated 100.4. And if you've got that level of fever.
Well, she's in Jersey. She's not going to be opening anytime soon, so.
Yeah, so there's that issue. In
Tell
Georgia,
her to get well.
Yeah, in Georgia, it's 99 degrees. And again, we don't have a choice. So there are some people that through autoimmune disease or other health challenges always run a little hot. And I get that. Yet we're pretty, and I shouldn't say pretty, we're real strict. It's 99 degrees is it. No ifs, ands, or buts. You run hot, I'm sorry. You have an autoimmune disease that runs hot, even more of a reason why you shouldn't be in the building. I think at this point, we as service providers and as an industry with big hearts, we like to bend the rules a little bit for people that we like. And I get that, but this is not the time for that. It just isn't.
So being Latin, I run hot, so I guess I can't come in.
You know what? We'll get a fan out there first, cool you down a little first.
I'll do the ice challenge before I walk in.
So to go through our tools really quickly, so one, we have the waiver. Every client signs a waiver, no ifs, ands, or buts. It's in the computer that they signed it every time. We also have our wait sign. It's out front with the texting number so that you can reach inside and talk to us inside the company. You've got these 4 questions that, again, we ask before you even walk in the building. We have these sandwich signs, which are outside the building so that every client knows what happens before they even come in the door. And so those are the basis of our interactions with the guests before they show up. And then, of course, there's a protocol that happens when they actually come in and get a service. For us, what that looks like is this. Client walks in the door. So remember, John comes up. I talk to Oscar. I ask them the 4 questions. We both sanitized our hands. I made you sign the waiver. I wrote your temperature down. We go through that whole piece. You come to the station. While all that was happening, while I was going through the onboarding process with Oscar, the assistants are in the back cleaning my station. So they will sanitize the station while I am getting my next client. That station is cleaned, both the stations, the chair, everything around it, and a clean cape is put over that chair. A clean cape over the back of that chair indicates that that station has been sanitized. So when I bring Oscar back, I know I've got a clean chair to work from. Oscar's got a mask, I've got a mask. If we go to the shampoo area, we lay back into the shampoo during that same time span. That shampoo bowl has been sanitized and cleaned, and a dry, clean towel is across the neck. And if there's no towel, you know that sink has not been cleaned yet. We work with every other sink, just like we do with the styling stations, to build in that, that separation in between people. When they get a shampoo, a towel goes over the face to protect the client's eyes, nose, and mouth while they're getting shampooed. The stylist has a mask on during this whole time. And again, we're not having assistants doing shampoos, the stylists are doing them themselves. The least amount of people touching that guest, the better. And if we keep it to 1, which is what we do with the stylist being that point person, all the better.
So Susan also asked, how many people are allowed to be in the salon in Georgia?
We don't have a limit of 10 people in the state of Georgia. What we have, first, hair salons, what we have is social distancing. Now, the funny part is, how can you say you've got social distancing when you've got the client right in front of you? I don't know how they came up with the rules. I just know that these are what they are. The rules are, I can work on my guest within inches, right? As long as we both have masks on. Social distancing is we work every other station so that there's a good 5 to 10 feet apart. 8 to 10 feet apart for every guest.
And then,
oh, by the way, we closed our reception areas. We took all the chairs out, so there is no reception area. There's no.
We froze up here. You there, John? There you go.
Yes, ma'am.
You froze up there. So you took out the reception area, you have no chairs anymore, and then I didn't hear anything.
Correct. Yeah, we took out the reception area chairs. If there's any waiting, or you're waiting in the car, there's no waiting in the salon.
Okay. So Tracy, go ahead and ask your question, hon. No, you just muted yourself.
There
you go.
So when you guys started rebooking, did you do priority booking? I know a lot of people are talking about that, like kids and men.
Well, we didn't place priority based on the service type. We based priority based on how long you've had an appointment. So anybody that was that first week we closed, March 24th, 25th, whatever that week was, anybody that week had priority booking. Then the people that had the first week of April, they had the next priority. The second week of April, the next priority. So we did priority based on age of previous appointment, not on anything else.
Well, you're muted again, Tracy. I muted you. Go ahead. You're done.
Stop muting. Gotta fight for the right. No,
gotta take care of the background noise, honey.
So the people that had an appointment, let's say last Monday when you opened, it got washed away and all new appointments got created?
Well, it didn't get washed away. What happened was we contacted all those people from the last week of March and we started booking them, right? Now, if that client called up, that one that had an appointment last week and said, hey, I had an appointment last week, can you get me in? We're not gonna say no, right? Yet, what I will say is before we opened, our managers had 4 days between, the day between Monday, which is when we found out we were reopening, and Friday, the day we actually reopened. They had 4 days to call all those past clients and get them on the book first. And we were able to fill up our schedule pretty darn quick with people who had been waiting a while before anybody knew to get on the schedule. It happened not purposefully, it happened because that's just the way the process worked.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
And Susan has another question. I'm gonna read this one, Susan, and I'm just gonna ask all of you to just write your questions out on a paper. And if John doesn't hit that in his presentation, then we'll ask those at the end because we're kind of pausing and interrupting you, John. I apologize.
No problem.
Susan says, so your assistant's apprentices is unable to wash clients and get a tip. They can only be rehired to sanitize the stations, ?
Yeah, but we did pay them more. So as an hourly rate, we paid them more. So we increased our hourly wage while we go through this phase of working the back end, making sure that all the stations are sanitized, clean. We did not buy individual smocks and capes, disposable ones, because we felt it was a waste. What we did is we bought a lot of capes, we bought a lot of smocks. So what happens is a client gets a clean cape or a clean smock, and we change that out every service, every client. Not only does the client get a clean cape or smock, the stylist has to change smocks between every guest. What that means is there's a lot of laundry, right? So our support staff spends most of the time, believe it or not, doing laundry than anything else, just to make sure we're always got clean capes.
So what kind of increase did you give them in pay, if I may ask, from what to what?
We were ranging anywhere from $8 to $10 an hour. Now we're paying them 12.
Got it. Well, very good.
Yeah.
All right. Oops. Keep it coming, sir. This is good stuff, man.
All right, so the client comes in, we go through the process, they go to the station, they have to wear a mask, the stylist wears a mask, and they go through the service piece. One of the questions that comes up that I'll answer now before somebody asks, do we do blow dries? The answer is yes, we do. We do blow dries because from our point of view, we don't see it being a challenge. What I mean by that is, from what little we know, the virus does not survive under high heat environments. And so the blow dryer, in my opinion, is hot enough to make sure any germs or bacteria don't become an issue.
Well, that heat is centralized at the nozzle of a blow dryer at however many degrees, but as soon as it gets away from that, that temperature is going to decrease drastically. And
yeah, it does. Here's what I'm going to say. Between the fact that they just got shampooed, right?
Yeah.
Between the fact that both people are wearing a mask, everybody in the building is wearing a mask.
I think should be dead by now.
Should be dead by now. Not only that, I think what most people don't recognize is, especially in Georgia, we use our HVAC system all day long. And I'm more concerned that we do a good job of cleaning up the venting system, which we've done, right? And the filters that go with that, than I am about any hair that might get tossed around with the blow dryer.
Well, now that we're here, did you guys add any ozone machines and that type of thing?
We didn't. Again, we did our research. We didn't. And again, we did our research. One of the things that we've discovered, and you may have seen this yourself, for those who've done the research, even if one person has the virus, right? They're asymptomatic. You don't know. If both people are wearing a mask, the transmission rate goes down to 1.5%. So if I've got a mask and you've got a mask, transmission rate is 1.5%, which is really low. Add to that you're sanitizing your hands and all the sanitation processes that we go through, that we're taking your temperature before you walk in the door, that we're wearing gloves, that we're covering your face, that we've got social distancing. To me, I'd rather spend that money and effort on making sure support staff are cleaning the place, making sure our sanitation protocols are in place, making sure you saw all those gloves and barbicide and alcohol that we've got. I think that when it comes to spending money wisely, and it's going to be the most effective in cutting back the spread of the virus, I think blow dryers fall real low in the totem pole. and all that other stuff is much more effective.
Got it. Thank you, Gloria. We'll talk to you later. I'll show you the replay.
And then the same process happens when the client comes up front. They come up front. The stylist actually does their rebooking for them because they, to maintain as little contact with as many people as possible. The front desk then does the money piece because the client's already been rescheduled. If a client wants to buy retail, the stylist goes to the retail shelves and gets that for them. The client cannot take it off the shelf themselves. So the stylist will grab the product. They'll bring it over. They'll put it in a bag. Of course, they've got gloves on.
And that's all still fully exposed.
Completely exposed. But there are signs on the retail display that say, if you need any retail items, please talk to your stylist. If a client wants to buy just retail, that's all they want to come in for. They don't have to sign a waiver, but they do have to go through a temperature check. They got to sanitize their hands. They have to go through the same process. Yet they cannot take product off the shelf themselves. Either the front desk or one of the stylists will go over and get that for them. What we really ask people to do is call ahead, use Textel, tell us what you want, pay for it online, which we have that system set up, and we'll have it in a bag ready for you when you get here. Text us when you're outside, pull up to the front door, and we'll walk it out. You don't even have to get out of the car.
So that's predicated on them actually knowing what they used on their hair, product title and name, etc.
Yeah, but most of them know what they want. Even if we don't, the stylist, we can ask them, hey, Oscar's on the phone. He wants to know what that mousse is you use. And 90% of the time, it's in the computer already as a past purchase. So we're able to get that.
I'm thinking off the cuff right here. As you're saying that, my mind's going to how else could it be tweaked or played with. If salons that have the help and staff and or maybe some time and minutes to do a little search every morning or maybe the day before your clients, who's coming in tomorrow, what products do they use in the regimen I use on them.
Right. Yep.
And if that was an email or a text, hey, just a quick heads up and reminder, these are the products we use on you to create your look every time.
Right.
Which of these would you like? And we'll have them ready for you tomorrow when you come in for your appointment. I think a prompt like that could be huge. Go ahead and pay for it now online so we can avoid touch. And we're all reprogramming our minds and our emotions on how we operate as consumers, as well as clients who are the other consumers and doing our transactions. So as these new norms start to kick in, I think retail could explode from some of those prompts right there.
Right. Yeah. It's worked out really well. I have to tell you, this whole process has gone, I would say, flawlessly. The number of challenged guests we've had, I can count on one hand.
When you say flawlessly, that's not like flawlessly, like as in our president saying that this has been flawlessly. Sorry, had to drop one in.
Yeah. I would say
this has been flawlessly because it sounds perfect and well constructed, man.
Yeah, it's been flawless. Like I said, the number of guests who have had challenges with this whole process is, if I could count them on one hand, I'm pushing my luck.
Yeah.
There just aren't that many. The stylists have been very appreciative. Even the staff that didn't come back right away were responding on our internal Facebook and social media pages saying, you know what, thanks. I love the fact that you guys have done all this ahead of time. And of course, they heard it from their teammates who did go to work, right?
Yeah.
So, that story starts to percolate within the company, and it's been amazing. We're probably just north of 80% of our normal revenues.
Wow.
82, 83% of our revenues. There have been a couple of days when we've been over revenues from the year before.
On year to date and compare and contrast from last year?
Yeah. But on average, if I took all of last week, which I did, I think last week we're at 82% of revenues for the same week last year.
As a company, in all six locations.
All 6 locations.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Now we're talking money. Susan had asked a question earlier. She goes, I got on a few minutes late. Had you guys talk about the COVID-19 charge? Are you guys doing a charge?
We have not as of at this moment in time.
Wow.
Now, I will say I did have a meeting this morning with Brian, the owner of our company, and I am going to, right after this phone call, I am going to sit down and we're going to raise all our color prices $1. And that's going to be our COVID-19 price bump.
Well, the thing about the distinction between about a COVID charge and a price increase is that come whenever this goes away, your price increase stays intact.
Right.
A COVID charge goes away, but then also counter that, the expenses hopefully have gone down too, even though I think some stuff's going to continue to be around for a little while, even after we start loosening stuff up. So are you comfortable sharing what that initial investment for all those products were?
To tell you the truth, I don't know what it is. Tammy,
Okay.
our director of appropriations takes care
For
of all that
6
stuff.
salons, I'm sure you're into 25 plus grand there.
Yeah, I'd say without a doubt, there's probably $20,000 to $25,000 of stuff.
So that's great that you guys had cash on hand for the initial front end investment of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because that's a heavy hit. I get we're talking one locations for some of my peeps here and multiples for you.
Yeah. The good news is, and not every salon is company is just lucky, but Brian has positioned our company. We don't have any debt.
Wow.
There was no debt for the 6 salons, so we were able to take advantage of that and do a $20,000 to $25,000 buy-in. Obviously, for the amount of products that we buy, we have great relationships with our distributors. Correct. And one of the other things is, I think this is important, is Tammy, will look on Amazon tonight before she goes to bed and see if there's any alcohol for sale, right? And if there isn't any on Amazon, she'll go to Walmart. And then if there isn't any on Walmart, she'll go to Target. And if there isn't any on Target, she'll go to one of her distributorships. So she does that every night, because here's what happens. Today, Walmart will get a supply of alcohol. And if you don't buy it today, it won't be there tomorrow. So she purveys 6 or 7 different websites, checks them every single solitary night, because today may be the day that one of these companies has got what you need, and she'll just order it. And that has to be a regular thing. You can't check Amazon once a week and think that's going to be enough, because it's not.
So Michelle's asking, who is your main distributor?
Well, it depends what we buy from. So from our hair color, we buy Kuhn. So we have a relationship with Kuhn. Now, obviously, we don't buy our sundries from them. We buy most of those from Salon Centric. But we also work with a smaller distributorship down in Florida. We also work with Amazon. We also work with any of the local Walgreens, et cetera. I mean, we're foraging, for lack of a better way to put it. We'll go all over and anywhere, and whoever's got it, we'll take it. Life O'Reilly's distributorship in Georgia we worked with, and sometimes they got stuff. I mean, that's where we get all those gloves. They sent up, wow. We got those this morning. There's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's probably 50 boxes of gloves out there. 50 cases. Let me rephrase that. 50
exactly.
cases
wow.
of gloves out there. Yeah.
I had never really heard of that company, and then I met Debbie Milan.
Yeah.
In Panama City there, and she works for Life O'Reilly, and their owner, he's like going live several times a week as a distributor. I've not seen any of the distributors doing that, man. That man's fighting for his business, and from what I'm hearing, he's an amazing person to the industry. And I was just flipping through, and he's doing this whole presentation and a flip chart and a black marker.
Yeah.
And they talking about some universe thing. Give me four planets. And I threw down 4, and I won a freaking shampoo, moisturizer, and conditioner package, and they mailed it to me. I'm like, that was cool.
Yeah. Kelly Huther is his name. Great guy. One of our resources, but it's been Kelly at Life O'Reilly. It's been Salon Centric. It's been Kuhn that we buy our product from. We also carry Orbay, whatever we get from them, whatever we get from Amazon, Walmart, Target, and heck, if we have to drive over to Walgreens, we'll do that.
Love it. Susan, I'm going to unmute you for a second. Can you hear me, Susan? Can you hear
Suzanne?
me?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Suzanne?
Sorry.
Yes, Suzanne. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, ma'am.
So you put pre-booking ? What was that about?
Oh, I was, my head was just ahead of myself. So I was just listening to the checkout. So so clients could still, he said that there's no front desk or anything. So is the receptionist pre-booking the client when they leave, or is the stylist going to the computer and.
He got rid of the reception chairs. I think they're
Yeah.
still a front desk operation.
Yes. Yeah, we have 2 to 3 receptionists at the front desk. We got rid of the reception chairs. We did not get rid of the receptionists.
Correct.
So the stylist does the rebooking. You know, we strongly encourage at this point that, and it's worked out really, really well, that clients book their next 2 to 3 appointments out. 1, because we don't know what the future looks like. 2, because it really cuts down on the phone and textile traffic. And you know what, clients have like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Let me do that.
So when you say the service provider is doing their pre-booking
Yep.
from their station, or they're going behind the front desk to enter all that?
They're going up to the front desk. You know, our front desk, because of, you know, the way we set up our locations, there are usually 3 terminals at the front desk, 1 in the center and 2 on the ends. And a stylist can come up and usually grab one of those end units and check out their guests.
So they're checking out every single guest. So now we have every stylist from your operations are going behind that front desk.
Well, they don't go physically behind it because, again, the way the desk is set up, those 2 on the ends are far enough on the ends.
Okay, so they're not really behind. Roger that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
God, it's so cool to hear how other people's operations go. And some people would be like, no way, get away from my front desk.
Yeah. Well, you know, we don't want them involved in the transaction, you know, get me loud and clear. Yet with the traffic that we have, you know, most of our locations have got 22 to 28 chairs. You know, you'd have to have so many people at the front desk in order to accommodate all that rebooking. And, you know, some stylists like to double book. Some stylists like to squeeze people in. Some people take a little less time. You know, I can
Back
do
in
this
the day.
right. So, you know, they can go in there and schedule their own guests and get that done.
Wow.
I was thinking about getting an iPad on everybody's station in the salon
Sure.
and having, and the pens with the little, you know, velvet on the end, and having the stylist while the client is sitting in process, and since we can't do, like, I like to do 8 people at a time.
Sure.
So
No, I
if
think
I can
that's
only,
great.
if I can only do 1 person at a time, let the stylist pre-book the client and possibly check them out, you
Yep.
know, and
Mhm.
I don't know. I it's just a thought.
No, I
When you
like the
said-
idea about using an iPad, because if you're at your station and you've got that guest sitting there, why not? Hey, you know what, Suzanne, let's book your next appointment while we're here, and, you know, I'll take care of you. So that way, when you get to the front desk, it's just the cash exchange at that point.
You know, if you got capital to be able to do things like that, that's awesome. And I think that should definitely be something that people strive for as the future, because I think that is the next future, is that those will be some sort of, whether it's an iPad or you got a Kindle. I mean, you
Right.
can handle many of the same things for a fraction of the price of, you know, if that's what we're talking. But I believe there will be a lot of those type of situations in the future. I mean, before any iPad, before anything was tablets and stuff like that, I used to have my actual laptop at my station at my salon.
Mhm.
And I was doing it to enter their data. I was renting a chair, so it wasn't like it was an operation for me. But new clients would come in, I'd let them fill out their stuff on the computer. I did whatever I did, but then when we were done and I'm into the hair, when my screen would highlight, it would turn into a slideshow of cuts and colors and ideas, and they're just sitting there looking at this the whole time we're talking and working, and they're like, "Oh my God, go back!" And it would be a cut or a color, and it sold so much. I didn't have to say a word. They're like, "I want that color." I'm like, "Done."
It's awesome. Yeah,
So it
love
was a great thing, and that's when I was getting out from behind the chair. So
Mhm.
that was a couple years ago. Anybody else have any questions? And John, do you have any more slides that you wanted to show?
I don't. Let me take a quick look. I don't think I do. I showed you the nope, I don't.
Okay. Michelle has a question. Let me unmute you, darling. There you go, dear.
Hi, I know you did cover it. I'm still a little confused.
That's okay.
My problem this week in trying to plan the future
Yeah.
is we're not going to open up full, maybe 50% to see how it goes.
Sure.
It's a spa. I don't know how many people will be coming back.
Right.
So I can't offer my employees those full-time positions or even the hours that they had.
Right.
So did I understand you correctly? get their schedule in and then you pay them for whatever they're lacking? Or was that,
So let me go through it and hopefully this helps address it.
Okay.
So let's pretend, so what we did is we took, went through the payroll records and found out what, I'll use Oscar as an example just to make life easy. So we find out that Oscar on average for 2019 took home $2,000 a week. That was his paycheck. And then what we do is, let's say this first week, you only generated $1,500 in income. We'll make up that 5.
wow. Wow.
Now,
So on their payout, on the commission of revenue,
yeah.
you're
Now,
matching.
well, we're matching your paycheck, so if your paycheck was $2,000 on average and your paycheck this week is only 15, we're making up the other 5.
So
Now-
if they get 2,500, they giving you 500 back?
It doesn't work that way, but good for them,
I agree.
Yeah. And here's the thing, once that starts to crest, that's not going to be a problem anymore, right? Meaning hitting 25. Now, here's the thing, we're generous, but we also got government money for that, right? So,
Right.
that's
So
what we
that's
use it for.
that difference is coming out of your PPP.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that answers that question for you, Susan.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then she asked, did you hang clear barriers in between clients? And you had said no at the beginning of the call.
We didn't, and again, what I always look at is where are you going to get your biggest bang for your buck? And I'm going to change that from biggest bang for your buck to biggest sanitation for your buck, right?
Yeah.
So how am I least likely going to spread the virus if it's in our company? The best way to do it, number one, is to keep it from coming in the door in the first place,
Yeah.
right? So temperature checks, gloves, you're going to sign a waiver. So hopefully, and then we go through the 4 questions. If you had a cough, if you've been around anybody that's had a cough, blah, 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 blah. So hopefully you're not even coming in the door. But let's pretend that somebody made it through that, right? I've got a mask, you've got a mask. CDC has said that even if one of those 2 people has the virus, if you both have a mask on, the chance of transmission is 1.5%. Okay, so now transmission is already really low. Next, we know that cloth has the ability to the
Absorb.
virus has the ability to adhere to cloth and live a little bit longer. So what we do is we take every cape, every smock, every time in between every guest, and it gets washed. So that takes care of that challenge. All the stations are sanitized in between every single solitary guest, no ifs, ands, or buts. Every sink is sanitized between every guest, no ifs, ands, or buts. The staff has a temperature check when they come in, and we do a second one later on in the day around 1, 2 o'clock. So they get checked twice a day.
Employees.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, in my opinion, if you've done all of these things and spent the money on the barber side and all the other, and we put social distancing in by working every other station and the same stations so that they're always being sanitized and cleaned, that to me is the way that you can decrease the spread of this virus most effectively. Do I think that the separations will help? Probably. But I think I'd rather spend that money on more alcohol. I'd rather spend that money on more capes that can get changed out every time, because I think I will get a better sanitation result from that than I will from the other. And here's the thing, there's nothing right or wrong here. You just have to kind of figure it out. What can you afford? What fits within your company budget? What protocols can you incorporate in your company that work? And if barriers work for you and you can hang them up and you've got a space that it works, do it.
So
especially
Sasha,
if you don't have 3 months supply of alcohol like we got, right?
correct. Sasha asked, how are your employees handling wearing the mask around the clock? How are their ears, and are they getting hot, and are they complaining?
The answer is yes, right? We joke about we're going to have a big company bonfire when this is all done. We're going to take all our masks and throw them in there, right?
And they're changing masks every client as well?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you've got. Like I've got a cloth mask, right? And you know, we were able to get ones with our logo on it, which is really kind of cool, right? So I've got 3 of these, you know, and so I wear one day, and I've got 2 others, and then once I get 2 dirty ones, I throw them in the wash. So you know, I rotate these daily. We also have disposable ones. We have ones with the metal strips because some of our staff wear glasses and they need something that's a little bit more form-fitting so they don't get, you know, frosted fog up lenses. Again, 95% of our staff are good. There are 5% of our staff, and this is no judgment. This is just, we're all different, right? Some of us can't stand to have it on the back of our ears. Some of us, no matter how much metal is on here to create a barrier, still fog up their lenses. You know, we're always finding alternatives. We got face shields. You know, we don't use many of them, but we got them for those people who, you know what, the mask's just not working.
As an alternative, so now they're going to possibly unmask, but shield.
No, they have to do, if you wear a shield, you have to wear a mask. But I also live in the real world. What I also know is that sometimes they slip down their face a little bit, you know.
Gotcha.
I'm not walking around going, hey, cover your nose, right? If somebody needs to breathe for a minute, you know, you can let them breathe, right? But if you're going to be that person, you're going to need a shield.
As an employee protocol, from walking from their car to the front or back door of the salon to enter, are they gloved and masked prior to walking in those doors?
Their mask is on as they come in the door, right? They get the temperature check when they're coming in the door. Gloves are right there in a box by the door. Put them on.
Gotcha. And they're cutting in gloves as well all day long.
Well, you know what? If I'm being honest, they try,
Okay.
right? It's really hard to cut hair with a glove if you're a hairstylist and you know this, right?
Yeah.
So they'll do color with a glove, they'll do highlights with a glove. And in all honesty, they probably take their gloves off while they're doing a haircut. But there is a jar of hand sanitizer at every station throughout the company. You'll sanitize before, you'll sanitize after. You know, we try to be as accommodating within our rules as possible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. This is crazy good stuff. You guys feel better, informed? Let me do a little check-in with you, Miss Melissa. What's going through your mind through all this?
Well, the reason that I walked out earlier was to grab my papers, and I have a list of our protocols when we go back, which is not going to be for a while because Pennsylvania pretty much said that salons are going to not go back until they make our county green, and we're still in the red. So I don't know if we're going to need as much as a lot of the places as they're going back, right. But I'm getting all of the things. Like I found a jackpot full of little hand sanitizers that were from a giveaway last year that that ended up being in my office, and I was like, "Look, everybody! I found 4 hand sanitizers."
That's awesome.
Because we just can't find them here.
Yeah.
But we're ordering shields. I already have masks out there. We actually had a lot of rubber gloves, but the new smock for the stylists and I had never heard if both people are masked that there's that low of a chance. So that's definitely helpful too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, 1.5% if both people are wearing masks, and that's even under the assumption that one of those 2 has the virus.
Right.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's great to
perfect
hear
timing.
somebody that's actually there.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
It's divine intervention that John's call is like really right now, the week after they opened. 2 weeks ago, it would have been a different conversation. And
Right.
Now it would have been a different one. Wow. Right. Perfect. Thank you, Melissa. Miss JD, what's going through your mind right now? If you could unmute.
I think the biggest part for me is just figuring out the schedule, you know, because there's not a lot of us in the salon, so I don't have to worry about that part. But clients that I already have scheduled that are pretty tight, it's just figuring that out. That's the biggest part. The in between sanitizing, all that's, I've got pretty covered. It's just, okay, we don't even know when our opening date's going to be.
Yeah.
So we're, so that's the biggest challenge when you don't have even an idea of a date,
Yeah.
how to schedule it. So.
It's gonna- Go
And
ahead.
JD, just so you know, we've done this twice already. What I mean by that is we closed on the 24th, I think it was, of March, and we planned on being open April 11th or 12th, whatever that date was. And so we called clients and told them that's when we're going to be open. Of course, then we weren't, so we had to call them again and tell them we weren't going to be open again. And then we called them a third time and said, oh, guess what? We're open. So I just want you to know it's okay. The clients were really, really accommodaing. You've got, for some reason, I think this is a universal number. There's always those 5 clients.
Amen.
There's always 5, who are the knuckleheads of the world, right?
Well, so last minute cancel or no show.
It's the same 5, right? There's just 5 people who are knuckleheads.
You're
you know who they
fired.
are ahead of time, right? And you just have to deal with those 5. The other 1,000 million customers are nice. If you just get past the 5, you're good.
Yeah. Awesome. God, that almost provoked a question from me from what JD was saying. Go ahead, John. Let me go, Sasha. So what are you feeling, thinking, taking away right now?
So I'm really glad we had this call because personally, I feel like every state is so different. And being Massachusetts, not having any guidelines yet from the government, I feel like it's just this chaotic hysteria across the board because it's all speculation.
Right.
So I'm appreciative that you shared your information and that people are sharing their information. I'm going to make it a point to put that 1.5% that you mentioned about if the 2 people are wearing masks to stress to clients.
Pause 1 second, Sasha. What's the reference on that? Who's the resource of that quote, John?
I believe it was the CDC put that out a little while ago. I saw it on a notification they put out on the internet, and I saw that, and it had if one person's got it, if 2 people don't have it, if one person's got it, one person doesn't, one person had it but doesn't have it anymore. The worst case scenario was if one person actively had the virus and both people had a mask on, transmission rates were 1.5%.
So I think that's really great. My biggest struggle right now, and we talked about this on my meeting with my team last night, was, and you touched upon it. First of all, my salon is small. We have a small group of employees, but we double it, triple, quadruple book ourselves.
Right.
And clients book out 6 months to a year in advance.
Yeah.
I already have weeks out that are solid. So now I have to figure out the people on the back end who have all been displaced because of this virus, how to get them in and where they fall for their upcoming appointments, or if they don't have an appointment, or on my lash people who need full sets now. And it's just the juggling act. So your point about, we were talking last night and it just struck a chord when you said your furthest out should be the priority and then you work your way back.
Right.
I was like, who makes it fair? Because all their money is green.
Right.
$1 is $1, $100 bill is $100 bill. Like I didn't know where to start and where to stop. Do I call the people from last week? Do I call
bitter, baby.
Right. But you make a good point. I didn't think just to like take it down a notch and be like, okay, call the people like.
Yeah, farthest out, we just start there and work our way forward.
Right.
Yeah.
And the government has changed in Massachusetts so many times. We've had to make, this will be, I want to say, the 4th or 5th round of calls that we've had to make because they keep pushing it out 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah.
So it's getting.
But here's the thing, they keep pushing it out 2 weeks, but you guys aren't going to be in phase 1 anyways. So even when I would just quit calling and wait for that very, hopefully last 2 week notice because you're still not going to be in that phase.
You know, you make a really good point, Oscar, but I feel like the communication needs to be there because
I think you can communicate to keep them calm and informed and connected, but don't keep giving like these false hopes. And I don't mean like you are.
Oh,
They keep hearing something and then you just have to keep countering it.
no. So what we've been doing is when we do call, we're just telling them they're all on pause.
Gotcha.
So they're going to get a phone call back to reschedule once
Good.
we know it's safe. It's just a matter of communicating. But
Right.
last night, what we had discussed was when the like green light go, let's do this.
Right.
At what point do we make the, okay, you get the first phone call, you get the second phone call, like,
Mhm.
you know, but
Yeah.
your point, that just struck a chord with me. Just go to the furthest, work your way back. I know there's going to be multiple clients that have had multiple appointments over
Right.
multiple spans of time that were affected. So,
Right.
So just again, a side note, go on to the CDC and find that exact quote. Because if you're going to put that information there, really get the quote correct and the resource that it came from. Because somebody's going to ask you, where'd you get this information? Oh,
And
John told me.
yeah,
John told me.
yeah,
which makes it true, but just verify.
yeah, no, that's great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sasha. And oh shoot, what'd I do here? Boom, boom. Let me get out of there. God, my screen is blowing up here. Michelle, what's up for you down there?
Oh, no, this call was great. Thank you. I just wish we could open sooner than later, but it's going to be a while. I'm from New York, but yeah, I really appreciate all your information. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Yeah, I think every little one's given us a little piece. I think we've heard so much now that we all have a really good idea, but now we got nuance. You know, the radio dial, as you guys always hear me say, turn that fine tuning down. Layla, what's going on for you over there? If you could unmute.
Well, thank you, John. It's
You're
making me
welcome.
feel a lot better that you're not doing like the ozone and you're not doing the partitions and stuff like that, because I'm a booth rent and I can't control those things in the salon. I can suggest them as much as I want, but I can't. So that's making me feel a lot better that I've taken as many steps as I possibly can.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm really, really thinking about right now is dialogue on, like, if somebody is running over 100-degree temperature or if they don't want to wear the mask. I think I really need to sit down and write out that dialogue for how I'm going to send them away or whatever.
That's good. You didn't have that on any documents, did you, John?
I did not. Nope.
Okay. Layla, I think that's great that you're thinking like that. You know, you got to be like that attorney and never ask a question you don't already know the answer to.
Right.
So think about 2 or 3 or 4 different responses that could come from a guest and have an answer for each one of those. And we'll do that when we do our next coaching call. We'll role play and figure some stuff out for you.
And Layla, just, to help ease your mind a little bit, clients have really been flexible and accommodating.
Yeah.
There really hasn't, when I say flawlessly, I'm not making it up.
Yeah.
Clients really haven't given any pushback. They really haven't given any problems. They get it. They're watching the news every day. They see what's going on. I really, really think, aside from the little bit of frustration that comes with they can't find an appointment, right? What do you mean I have to wait 2 weeks? That's it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, wow, that's kind of just hitting me again. You guys are at 80% revenue.
Yeah.
And you're 50% staffed.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
Fuck, man. Let's play with those numbers right there. So you got a 30%, you got your increase with a drop. There may not need be more employees in the future.
Well, here's the thing. People coming in on Sundays. People are staying a little bit later. People are coming in a little bit earlier. People who are at work want to work, right?
Got it. And so you added the day, which was not part of your old schedule.
Correct.
Roger that. Okay.
Yep.
So that's 4 extra days per month of the revenue.
Yep.
You know me. I'm gonna figure out hey.
Yep.
I love it. That's beautiful. Suzanne, what's on your mind, girl? What's going on for you? You got 9 million questions, girl. I love it.
Well, being a Jersey girl, we want to know everything.
All right.
Well, thank you for doing this. It's I really love how salon owners are really getting together and being on the same page, which I think is so important. I think my scariest part right now, besides not knowing when we're opening, is the confrontation that I'm gonna have with my 25-year staff of, are you coming back? Like, I'm avoiding that like the plague. I'm scared.
Are you afraid they're not going to come back, or what? I mean, where's the uncertainty coming from?
Well, just you know, I don't even like the Zoom. Like, I want to meet them in person and go, why would, you know, I have a questionnaire ready for them, and why would, you know, what would stop you? What I have everything already.
But maybe what makes you think they're not? Because it sounds like you don't believe some won't.
Well, you know, I'm going through more than a phone call, a thing could be going through right now.
True.
But
Suzanne, just from experience, you know, from our locations, the 20-25-year veterans, I got no problem with. It was the people that were 5 years or less.
Okay, yeah, I've had my staff.
In fact, I'd even go further and say anybody that's been with our company 3 years or less were the ones that I've had the biggest challenge with. They're the ones that still aren't back to work.
Well, who are also millennials, if we were to say it, call a spade a spade?
I'm not saying anything. All I'm saying is anybody 3 years or less, we've had the biggest challenge.
We'll fill in the blanks for you as owners.
The ones that were 20, 25 years in, they couldn't wait to get back.
Yeah.
Because they have a freaking mortgage and not living with mommy.
Yeah. I know, I'm not even gonna go there, but I just getting all this conversation ready, and I actually went to the dollar store and bought clear curtains because I had a vision of hanging. I'm like, maybe we could put that in between.
Well, they're all over the internet already with the clear curtains.
I know, I saw that the other. I said, oh my God.
Right here in Georgia, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Suzanne, what I will tell you is that the senior staff are the ones that came back. They couldn't wait to come back. But they're also the ones that are sticklers for the details, right?
Yes.
They're the ones that are going to make sure that all the stations, that you're working every other station, right?
Right.
They're the ones that are going to want to make sure that you've got gloves and you've got masks. So, and for me, that's the easy stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, if your biggest complaint is making sure I got enough gloves and that you work in every other station, that's great. But you're going to come to work? Yeah. Okay. The hell with it. I'll get all the gloves you want.
I'll get you.
I have all the gloves. I actually went in another book that I have, and I ordered white disposable aprons from a restaurant, and you know the clear gloves that the kids make sandwiches with at Jersey Mike's or whatever. And so if we have our nice $12 box of Prada Club gloves, and I'm just thinking, how much more is my, inventory going to be? But I actually love the fact that to raise our prices and not put on the COVID, that's genius, because you're right. Once that goes away, then it stays. It stays. But the clear ones, like say we had just, for cutting hair, and we put the clear on to go meet them and then we throw the clear ones off, and you still have your nice black gloves on that you didn't touch anybody with. So
you're double gloving in your mind.
I'm double glove. Oh, I just thought about it. I said, you know what? They're $500 for like $8. It's a stupid number. So
it's just like somebody from New Jersey to double glove.
Yeah. But also I wanted to ask you about the restroom cleanup. Like if a client has to go in the restroom and somebody stole my toilet paper from, like, my bathroom is such a cute little under the sink. We keep toilet paper and all extra stuff.
Well, I'm coming to your place then.
It was gone. Someone stole my last roll of toilet paper on Saturday before we closed.
Okay.
So,
but to answer your question that you were going to ask, we have the bathrooms cleaned in between each guest by our support staff.
Okay, so just every time somebody goes in there, you got to be like a bell. Someone went in the restroom. Clean up. Aisle 2.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well,
okay, thank you. Thanks for your info. Appreciate it. And good luck. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Johnny boy, wow. Yes, how would you like to wrap this up in a pretty bow? But first of all, I just want to thank you from the bottom of all of our hearts.
You're welcome.
And bring in some real facts that somebody who's actually in it, because I'm just tired of the bullshit noise out there on the internet, and everybody's opinion is just like their ass. They got one. And I want to hear the facts. And thank you for bringing the truth and the realness. This was perfect timing. This was perfect timing. As I wrap up this series that we're in right now of this group here, the SMART group, it ends in the end of June. And then I start my next one July through December. I'd love to have you back. And Chris, I'm gonna invite Chris as well.
Please, yeah.
And these guys, John and Chris, is the podcast Chris's or both yours or?
Both of ours, yeah. We have a podcast. It's called Shop Talk. Now, here's the thing. Podcasts have become really popular.
Yeah.
And we're not the only Shop Talk podcast. There's ones for carpenters, there's ones for mechanics, there's one for a barbershop. So in order to find us, it's Shop Talk by 124Go. And so if you put Shop Talk by 124Go, you'll find us.
And I had the privilege of being interviewed by John and Chris when I was attending the Mentors and Master program with Gino and Nikki back in November.
Yep.
And that was a blast. That was so great. That's how I got to meet you guys. I had already known of you and your name, but we hadn't personally met prior to that. And now that we're here in Georgia, we've been trying to hang out since Christmas and haven't been able to make this happen.
Haven't been able to do it.
So now we'll have to go out to lunch and have some masked meals.
You got it. So yeah, please tune into our podcast. And if, Oscar's going to have all this information, he's going to put it up on his site and he's going to put it under files, under the Facebook headings. If you need any other help, any other questions, reach out to us by email. It's info, INFO, @124go.com. And I'll, give me a minute, because we're getting flooded by requests. I will not answer you in an hour, but I will answer you by the next day.
Awesome. Thank you, John.
Thank you, guys. Good luck, everybody. Stay safe.
Good luck to everybody up there. I'm going to contact you in the near future, and I want to come by if I can and do a quick visit. I'll come in a bio suit if you want me to, but I'd love to just kind of watch the operations from a distance and just see, so I can maybe bring back even some more info that I observed from some people.
Love it.
But I don't want to increase your numbers or any volume or anything. So if it works, it works. If it doesn't, no problem.
I'll look forward to it, Oscar.
God bless, Gareth. Thanks,
everybody.
Take care, everybody. Have a great one.